Good day, family, and welcome to On Power and Purpose. Joining me today is my three favorite human beings. Right, and I am so excited to have them in my show. We are going to be talking about the role and purpose of a man in a society, in a relationship, and as a father, and we are having, do you guys want me to do the intro or you?
Of course, yes. Ladies and gents, likewise, this is Amen, and On Power and Purpose is my home. Next to me, I've got very welcoming brothers, and they'll just have to introduce themselves. This is my man.
Hi, I'm Vusi.
Kenneth with my brothers over here.
All right. So we have Kenneth and Vusi and Amen.
Yes.
All right. Okay, cool. So we are in a world where it's so scary as women to wake up in. There's just so many things that are happening, and we kind of question, are we even safe around men? Because the first thing that a mother does or a father does is to teach the child of the dangers of a man. You know what I mean? What is really the real purpose of a man in a society? So we can start by you, Amin.
Thank you very much for that. That was just an intro, and
Yeah.
I'm grateful that we're here. Now, first of all, we have to understand that man was designed by God. Women were also created by God for men. Therefore, men are supposed to be the definite solid structure of the family. And family is not just a wife and kids. It's everybody involved, every human being that revolves around men. That's family. Therefore, a man is structured enough to sustain that by all means, because God has purpose that a man should be the structure that holds the family together. That's the first point of a man. So if a man does not follow the terms and conditions of God, now that's when society becomes very, very, very volatile on the state of existence. And I believe that my brother's going to sustain what I say, however they say it.
I've always said, yeah, man. I think I'm gonna echo with you. I think as men, I think we also need to go back and really apologize in the point that you said, Uguti, women are scared about us. And this is not the purpose that we have created for by God. We are supposed to be protectors, we're supposed to be providers. You see, if you find a protector or a provider, if he has 10 or he has moved where he's supposed to be, things, they're not going to go according to the plan, because you're supposed to protect. Now, if the protector now is the one that's really hunting, it becomes a problem as a society. I think as men, I think we need to look back into ourselves in the mirror to say, is this the life that we want to portray? Is this the life that we want to live as men? Because we cannot live in a society where women are fearful of us. I think we need to look ourselves very, very deep as men to say, where did we go wrong? What is it that we have done to be able to be in a situation which when you are saying, this is my husband, it's no longer a husband, only it's a husband who's a traitor or something like that. So I think as men, we have missed the spot, and I think we need to go back and really look within ourselves to say, is this the correct way to live our lives? Yeah.
Sure. Totally agree with you guys. I believe as a man now, it's tougher to be a man now than it was back then. But I believe men have lost their ways. They've forgotten what is the main role of a man, which is to drive vision, and a compelling vision for the family, not just for the family, but for the next kid that is next door. It is your responsibility as a man to make sure that kid is still grows up to be a man that he's supposed to be. So we've lost it as men. We've completely lost our role. We've forgotten our role. It could be because of society. It could be because of you completely focused on the providing, and you neglect the protection part of it. So we've completely lost it. I think we need to go back to the fundamentals of what it means to be a man and take our roles into considerations. Yeah, so I believe we just need to go back to fundamentals.
I think with what Ken is saying, it really takes me back to the importance of a father being present in a child's life. And we take it that the father, as long as the mother and the father are still together, but what's the role that a man is supposed to play as a father in a child's life? You know, can you just elaborate on that? Or you don't really have to have experience being a father, but as a child or as a boy, what is it that you feel that it was important that your father could have played, or someone that you could have seen that this was an important role for them to have played, but they missed the point because they focus more on the providing part?
I think I will use my my experience. You know, I grew up in a household where there was both father figure and a mother figure, and along the journey, my father decided that he doesn't want us as a family as well, so he separated from my mom. So I'm the only son at my father's side. As much as there are things and values that my mom has taught me, but as a son or as a boy, there are lessons that I long for, that my father can only teach me those lessons. They can only be coming from, son, this is how you handle a wife. Son, this is how you shave. Son, this is how you speak to the women. Now, if you check in the current generation, we are in a generation wherein we are having households that are headed by women. Fathers are no longer present in their lives, and there are values that are very critical to a boy's son that need to be impacted only by the father. I'm not taking away the responsibility that mothers are doing. They're doing a good job and they're raising very smart young men and young women. But there are values. Those values, it's a father to a son. Son, do not cry. Son, man up. Son, do this. Son, do that. Those things, you need to hear them from the father's son to say, son, you're good enough. Son, you are my best friend. You know, but if you do not have that, it becomes a challenge. In a moment where my father decided that he doesn't want to be this part of the family, I had to be, as a boy child now, trying to find a role model in the society, because I didn't want to be another statistics of another guy who ended up not having a direction. I have to draw different lessons from different people. The lesson that my father could have taught me, but he didn't because he was not there. So I think it's very important to have a father figure in the family as well, and not only being a father figure in the family, but also play a critical role. Because this day we have fathers that are not even present in their lives. They are there, but they're not really doing anything. You know, so I think it's has to be the wholesome, the totality of it all. Yeah, you in the family, you play your role as well.
It actually takes me back to the conversation we once had, where you say that we are in a fatherless generation, and it's like a cry for the nation of where are the fathers, because it's not only the mother, or it's like right now we live in a world where you even have to fight that the father must be responsible with just paying a visit, like a 2 minutes visit. Come play with your child. It's the things that women get to go through, or where are the fathers? And it's becoming normal that, okay, cool, you don't have a father. Oh, okay, wow, I never had a father. Oh, now you're raising a child without a. It's like a cycle thing that does not stop.
Oh, it's funny. Let me just bring numbers into the context so that we get a whole context of this. So looking at statistics for 2020 alone, so the birth rate in South Africa is currently sitting at per 1,000. You're looking at 20. So out of that 20, it says 60% of out of that, those kids are fatherless.
Yeah, okay.
So 60% of that, meaning out of that 20, 12 will grow up with absent fathers.
Yeah.
That's a lot of numbers. Looking at like 1,000. If you look at the whole population, we're sitting at 57 million. So 60% is quite a lot.
Yeah.
It's funny because when you look at the reasons behind and the impact that fathers play, Proverbs 22 verse 6 says, teach a child in the way that he should go, and when he's old, will not turn from it. I'm not taking away the fact that mothers play a very big role. In Proverbs also, it says that a home is made by a wise woman. So she makes the home. However, the father figure is very important, or it plays another role. There's something in, I can use both examples, a boy and a girl. So, but there's something in a boy that says, this is my hero. The boy looks at the father and say, "This is my hero." To him, his Superman is invisible. He doesn't feel any pain. But the presence of the father says, "Yes, I'm your hero. You can look up to me because I've been your age. I've been 2 years old. But now I've lived life a little bit longer than you. I can guide you. I won't dictate, but I can guide you on how to navigate your life." And by so doing, the child will say that, "No, actually, my father is a superhero, but his power is not the powers of Superman, but his power is being a father." So I believe that's one of the impacts that I play to show the son or the daughter that, you know what, this is life. However, you need to be strong. Emotions are also very important. So I believe they play that big role also.
Wow.
It's good to be with these men.
Hey.
No, it's very much good and I love it. Here's the thing. This is how I will sustain the sentiments of what you guys are saying. Because in the beginning, when God created a man and a woman, he created a family. And family, I said this in some of the podcasts that we had, that family is made of a mother and a father, of course. So a mother is maternal and a father is paternal. So if the maternal and the paternal come together, both have energy. They dispense energy to their kids. So kids must also be able to absorb both energies from both father and mother. However, if there's separation, a mother who's maternal must materialize with her single life on the kids. So the energy that she has will still be dispensed to the kids even though she's single. Now, if a father happens to be single and the mother is not there, because the father is paternal, so the father must participate with whatever that he has. So that's the energy that he has to dispense to the kids. So what you said is when you grew up, you wanted a male figure type of advice or energy. So this is to say you were not getting the paternal or the participation of a man. That means the energy that you required from a male figure was not there. So you had to saturate so that you can become a better person, like you said. So what he said is, if the statistic goes to over 1,000 or millions without fathers being involved, this is to say fathers need to regenerate, or men need to regenerate and understand that there's an energy that they need to dispense to people or to their kids, so that when a boy child looks at the father, will be saying, like you said, "This is my hero," understanding that there's much energy that the child gets from the father. If the mother looks at the child looks at the father, will also say, "This is my hero," because the daughter's also getting the energy from the father and from the mother as well. So it's very much important so that we can understand from the statistical point of view that if parents or fathers would be absent, now the nation is going to drown because the structure is no longer there. So the numbers that you said really, they just made me think about what's happening exactly right now. So if you go to the basics and understand that parenting must involve two energies by all means. Yes.
Oh wow! So you just explained.
You had to. By the way, she looks beautiful.
Oh wow! Thanks. I think with what you're saying, actually being a girl child, so I'm just gonna put it on being a girl child. You just never realize of how much you need a father until you get to grow up and start seeking the protection from a boyfriend part. So this is what I never got, and now I'm starting to seek it on somebody else who also never got it. So it is like two broken people coming together. But do you think there's a point where before you have to be a father, a level of maturity that you need to reach and a level of understanding that you need to reach before you become a father? Is there, or you just, as long as you are financially secured? Because right now we even live in times where people are able to make choices to say that I don't want to be a father anymore, I don't want to be a mother, you know. And that's a good thing, because you know your weaknesses, you know that you're not patient enough to have a child, you know that you won't be able to accommodate the child into your heart, therefore you make a choice of not to. So is there a certain maturity that a person has to reach and a certain level of understanding that a person has to reach?
Now here's the thing. As soon as a person identifies that their sex is in line with what they can dispense, which is energy. Now, it doesn't have to take so much time for a man to become a father. At the moment, I am a father, but I'm childless. Let me explain. The fact that I have understood what a man is gives me access to reach out to kids and show them the way. Why? I have inherited the positive energy from a male figure. My father provided that energy. I was able to absorb the energy. My uncles, my neighbors, my teachers, I have understood the principle of what a man should be. So because I do not have a child as yet, I'm able to reciprocate the same energy to all the kids that I feel that they need a male figure around them who's going to lead them and guide them on how to go about life. So if we talk about maturity, it's a matter of how do you perceive yourself as a man to fill up the missing element. So you need to step in and fill the gap of a father, because there are many men who are not fathers yet. A father is the one, like he said, who will always provide. It's not just money, the time that you give, attention, the focus on the kids. Now, that's how you become. Those are part of the elements that makes a father. So when you become a man and realize that there's a missing element, then fatherhood must kick in. So that's how I would say that it's not a matter of I'm waiting for a certain age to be 35 or 40 to be a father. No, it starts because there's a missing gap, there's a missing element in that.
You know what with what you're saying, right? I feel like it's very important that we know the importance of the role as a husband, because everything else starts as being a husband. You know, so what is the role of a husband? Because we know the role of a father. We've spoken about the role of a man in a society, but what is a role of a man as a husband?
I think I've never been a husband. Let me qualify that.
But I always talk about Paul when I have people in that he has so much wisdom, even though he was not.
So with God-given wisdom, I think it's said that we have really relegated a role of being a husband to just providing to our families, buying groceries, you know, paying school fees. We think that's all that it is to be a husband, you know. But I wish we can able to go back to really the core part of it, to say, if you're saying that you're wearing a hat of being a husband, what is required of you? What is it that you need to do? Because any man can just make a child. But it takes a real man to be a father and to be a husband, to say, you know what, I'm husband to this family, I'm protecting this family, I'm loving this family with my all. People are really running away now, even to be husband. They just want to make babies and don't want to be, you know, they want, I don't know how to put it, they kind of like cherry pick to say, I want to have a family, but I don't want to be a husband. Because it requires, if you want to be a husband, it requires you to love one wife, be present to your family, love them, all of them, undividedly so. Now, people don't want to do that, you know. So I feel like as a society or as a nation, we have missed the spot. I'll repeat this in a certain way to say we haven't seen our fathers being husbands. We are learning on the job, if I have to put it in that way. That I'm being a husband now, but I've never seen my father being a husband to my mom. So it's more like that generation that needs to come and learn on the job to do it. And then sometimes we get it right, because if you have a supporting partner. But if you do not have a supporting partner, it's more like both of you don't have a child, you're just starting to have a child together. It's exciting, but you'll make mistakes. But if you have learned it somewhere else, you'll be able to say, oh no, but this is how we do it. You know, as a husband, I think it's one of the things saying, you want to be there and love your family. You want to be there and protect your family and love them unconditionally. So hence I'm saying that I think we need role models to say, my father was not only a father to the community, but was a husband to my mom, wife to my father, if that's the better way to put it. But we don't have those things. We just have fathers just there as families.
Or sometimes we even have fathers who are really good outside, but when they come inside, the wife is very fearful of the husband, of the role that you play. So you're good outside, people see you as a hero, but as soon as you come inside, the whole family is very scared of you, you know. So I totally agree with what you're saying.
I agree with my brothers. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, where's the king? Nisky man. Where's the king?
It's because we have you, sister. um, growing up, there used to be this saying: "It takes a village to raise a child." So, as a community, it was not just the father's responsibility to raise the child, and for a husband also. I like what you said about role models. I believe that's one thing that's lacking now.
Yeah.
We look at role models in a way of wealth creation. My role model is Richard Branson because he makes a lot of money. I don't look home to say, you know what, my father is very loving to my mother. So he's playing that role of loving at home. So I see that at home and then I'm gonna take that with me. He's not necessarily telling me this is what you do, but you can see it every day. So you learn from that by seeing. So he's your role model in the role of being a husband. Nobody really knows how to be a husband, but you can see that, no, this is something good. I can take this with me. And then secondly, we're currently in a pandemic. Corona is here.
Hey, it's bad.
So everything, if you look at a lot of things, everything starts off as an epidemic, meaning it's only happening in that community. And then it becomes a pandemic. It happens worldwide. Corona started in China, and then now it's worldwide. So, but that's a bad thing. But what about if it's a role model? It starts off in a community. You have a group of kids observing in that community. Then it spreads worldwide. It becomes a husband pandemic, a good husband pandemic. So I believe that's what we need to do. We need to be role models to our kids, to our brothers. I believe so.
A good father pandemic. Dude, like we need that. We definitely need that because it's actually in one of the things we were talking about.
Yeah.
That was a good one, hey.
That's amazing.
I think in one of the things that we just spoken about in one of the episodes was how a girl child is looked at when they're raised by the fathers only. You know what I mean? And I've also mentioned also in one of the cases that I was working on that there's a young girl child who's been raped by the father, and the society, people don't believe that you can't be raped by your father because that's not how it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? Your father's supposed to protect you, and now they look at you and they like you become your father's wife. You know what I mean? So, and I think with what I'm trying to say is this, that we have to identify the role of a wife and a child as well, because we live in a society where if a man does not have a wife, then any woman is like, it's like, you can be my wife, you can be my, even a child, you look at them and you're like, you can be my wife, and then now a child starts playing the role of a wife. You know what I mean? So how important is it that people get to learn that that a child is a child and is never going to be a wife, and to not look at, because I think one of the things that we're very scared of as we walk when we walk around as women is having to be sexualized, you know. So you're very scared of wearing a tight jean, you're very scared of, because a man is going to look at you and see how you are shaped and then start sexualizing your body. You know what I mean? Is there enough teachings in that?
Yeah, absolutely correct. I mean, like he said, it starts as an epidemic and it expands to a pandemic. So how do we take what's good and expand it and to make it much more greater? I like that. Now, coming back to your question, I really like that. I never thought of it that way, but it's excellent.
It is,
really
because it's like
me.
if two people are able to do good things, and it definitely means that hundreds of people can be able to do it.
Absolutely correct. Yeah. Now, coming back to the question, ladies what men should perceive as cheap, because that's what it is. Because now a father or a man who does not value any female simply tames that particular female as a cheap product or an object, not a human being. Now, this is to say that particular man has never inherited greatness, that it will put some circumscription about perceiving another lady as valuable. Because if a father would want to force himself on his child, like you said, making the child his husband, this is to say, what happened to this man's inheriting great energy from man's point of view? Now, it tells us that the world, as much as the world is corrupt, that man's consciousness has been corrupted by not being able to digest the great energy that male people have to take out or have to release to ladies. Because if you are a father, knowing that a father needs to provide, a father needs to protect, why would you have a mindset to say, I want to penetrate my child? Knowing that if I did that, she will never be believable. Her story is not going to be credible to the law enforcement, because you have found how volatile she is, and then you took advantage of that. So it's important that we teach how a man should value the next person, which is the female, so that by that we would have so much element of restriction. If I see a lady, however she's shaped, whatever she's dressed, my mind should tell me that that's how she expresses herself. Let me not try to take advantage of how she appears. So if such teachings were to start with them as an epidemic, I believe that they will expand to a world pandemic. Because at the end of the day, that's the energy that we need to dispense throughout. So it's very much said, very, very much said, if my father would want to become the husband of her child. So what do I say? Am I the uncle of my little sister? My sibling has turned to become a little sister.
You know what's so sad?
The why?
I think what's so sad is how we women get to fight each other in this. I remember, I think I was like 12 years old, and my friend's father would just sit by the corner and propose me, so he'd be like, come here, let's go, guy, and you don't really have anybody to say, because people are probably going to be like, no, that's not true, you know what I mean, he's not going to propose you as a child. So I think also we live in an environment, or should the young child be vulnerable and date the husband, now the child is the one that is gonna take the whole responsibility and not the man, you know what I mean? And it's gonna be like, you the child are naughty. So it's like, as a female, whatever thing that you do, men's actions aren't taken as much as the woman's actions are. So it's like, you're the one who did wrong as a child, you're the one who shouldn't have done this, you know what? But I think also with what you're saying, that it's so important that they have to know their roles, and have a limitation of, this is not where I'm going to exert. You can expand on that, we'll see.
Yeah, I just wanted to maybe just add a little bit. I remember, I think it was on the news, there was this lady who was harassed, if I can put it in that way. She was just wearing something that's short. And certain men had a problem with that. That's why in most cases people are now scared to really wear something that is short. Because now it's more like, when you're wearing anything that is short, it's like you're inviting men to look into you in a certain way. And I don't think that is a mind that women has. They just want to express their beautiful dresses, their beautiful whatever shape that it is. So it becomes a problem if a man looks at a woman and undress her while she's walking and see beyond that small skirt and everything else. So the problem is not with women. The problem is with us as guys, as men, because if a lady is walking by, maybe anywhere, if I'm the guy that has values, that I've been taught to respect women, or respect myself, then I will know that you shouldn't look into her and undress her. It's just a normal that she's wearing that way. She just want to look good and feel good. Instead, I should just compliment her like, you look great. Then that's about it. Shouldn't undress people as they're walking on the street. I don't think that's a good thing to do. But it's that somewhere, somehow, we lost it.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Hmm. Yeah, you can take it up, Kenny.
Oh yeah. It's funny I look at it in this way, né? I believe we undervalue God's creation. God created man and woman, right? So if a woman came out of your rib, you should understand the pain of her coming out of your rib, because that's a part of you. So if you don't value her in that way, meaning you're undervaluing God's creation, He created man. I think going back to Genesis also, a man was created to be a cultivator. So he's supposed to cultivate whatever it is that is around him. If it's a child, he must cultivate the child. If it is his wife, he must cultivate whatever it is that she's bringing to the table. So I believe we've lost focus on what we need to do. So if we were still in focus of what we needed to do, which is to cultivate, Adam was given land, everything was there. When Eve came, he just needed to guide her in what we need to do. So everything is already there. So if we've lost the cultivation part of it, now we tend to focus on other things now we shouldn't be focusing on, which is now Adam. He's supposed to be cultivating, but he realizes, no, wait, there's a tree of life there. Yeah. Then you shift your focus from what you needed to focus on. But I believe if we can go back to, I like the army, I like the navy also. So in the navy, there's the captain of the ship. He is the big guy. He gives direction as to where to go. But not only that, he's not just called the captain because of that. He's called the captain because there's also a merchant in the ship. He is accountable for whatever it is that is there. If it's illegal stuff, his head is on the line because he's supposed to be accountable. So we're not taking account of what it is that is around us. We miss, and we're not being held accountable by society also. It's like, what they did, what they raped a child.
Exactly.
We'll go crazy for a week or so.
Yeah.
And then eventually, if I were to ask you which lady was raped in 2015, you wouldn't remember the lady's name, but she probably turned it at the time. But now we don't even remember it.
Yeah, guys.
Because we're not holding anyone accountable for their actions, and we're not accountable for our actions also. So I believe we need to go back to that also, being held accountable for our actions. Yeah, I believe so.
Can I ask all the three of you, where did you get all this wisdom? Because wow, no, you can tell when someone
not wise.
no. I work with different kinds of mindsets. I work with people who are like, if I can get you, I'm gonna rape you. You know what I mean? And then you get to have people who think like you. Does it have to do with the books that people read, the things that you watch, the things that you watch on TV, what you allow yourself, the music that you listen to? Does it have to do with the environment that you surround yourself with? Or is it like, I was born like this, I want to be like this person? You know what I mean? Or do you get to shape yourself to have this kind of mindset, to train yourself to think like this and to act like this? Because I can tell that all three of you have been touched by God, you know what I mean? And I can tell that someone has been pouring out so much in you for you guys to think like this, you know what I mean? Is it like a role model, things you watch? How do you shape your mindset to be like that?
I think one can't take credit for such wisdom. I mean, all glory belongs to God. In a way, I will put it in myself. You know, there are things that when I was growing up, I will say that will never be me. That will never be happen to my sister. That will never happen to my friend. So in the environment when you grow up, you say, I want to do better. You know, because of the current situation affected you so much that if you do not change, you are setting the next generation for a failure. So you don't want to raise nephews and nieces that knows you as a drunkard uncle, an uncle who speak anyhow with people. We know that uncle when he's there, everything else, So what I'm trying to say is that one has to pay the price. Paying the price, it means that you need to model yourself in a way that when people look at you, they said, I want to be like that guy. If I can tell you that I'm coming from a very poor family background, but there are people that say, if you've made it, I can also make it. So it's not about us. I will also quote Ureve. He always think about the next generation. To say, if you hold yourself like this, what will happen? If I drop a baton now, what will happen? So you automatically become more like, I want to sacrifice, I want to live better, I want to do better, not for me but for the next person, that anybody else who's looking from a distance can aspire to be like, I want to be like Amen. He handled himself so well, so I think we need to go back to that, to say let's change the future generation. Let's be wise, let's speak positive, let's speak power to truth to power, so that the next person will learn and able to take it further.
Hey, this
I
panel, I feel like we're in Miss SA, and you know what? Hey, the panel is hot.
To be honest, I feel like if only I was sitting that side and then listening. Do you understand? Because I don't want to be talking, but I want to be listening throughout. It's a good one.
I know, right?
It's very much nice. I believe the viewers be like, okay, we are good to be viewing this segment. All right then, whatever that you guys are saying, it really fills my heart, I understand. And the question is, where do you get this wisdom? All right? Everybody, God has given everybody a wisdom. Nobody is a sum of themselves. What do I mean is, you cannot be 1 + 1 of yourself. You are a product of other things. So that product is it people that you like to surround with, or is it God? So if it's God and the people that you surround yourself with, then you become that product. So as I am, I'm not an amen because of amen. I'm an amen because of Vusi, Kenny, you understand? Renee, God, this person, this good person. Then what you hear, it's not an amen. I'm just expanding the sentiments of everybody that has produced this. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, that will make you understand that as a person, you are a house of gifts. Now, whatever that you do, you give out. If I speak like this, I'm giving you words. If I look at you, I'm giving you my side. If I focus on you, I give you my attention. You understand? So as a house, or me, the tabernacle of gifts, I need to be careful what gifts I'm giving, I'm rendering out to the next person. Because now, as I am, I'm a package of gifts. So if I've got good gifts, let me go on giving good gifts. You understand? So I can never say I take the credit of being too wise, too smart. I'm a product. And a product is very much cautious about what it does. Now, Coca-Cola is a product. Before they sell it, they inspect it, assess it carefully so that the consumer cannot go under medical condition. So as I am a tabernacle that's housing great gifts. So I must be careful on how I give back. So if you say this is knowledge, it's not mine, I don't own it, but it's somebody else's. It's just that I sustain it in a higher scale, that humanity will relate to it. Yes.
Wow. Hey, I'm a husband. Wow, I don't even know what to ask. Wow.
I just want to come in there.
Yeah.
When you guys talk about wisdom and knowledge, I just want to go back to David and Solomon. I'll just use that as a reference. We all have our Davids, and we all become Solomon in some way or the other. We're a product of what we read, we're a product of the Bible and the environment that we surround ourselves with. But if we look at King David's last instruction to Solomon, he gave him, it's like very few words, but he didn't say, this is my wisdom.
Can you just put your mic a bit?
So he didn't say, this is my wisdom. So he said to Solomon, be confident and determined in all that you do. Obey the laws that were written down in the laws of Moses, and obey the Lord's commands. Yes. So with that being said, we know him as the wisest man that ever lived. But where did it come from? Remember the last instructions that he was given. So it makes sense. You cannot be on your own. You are always a product of the ones that came before you and the ones that are with you now. So it is a combination. Yes, books help. It gives you a different perspective when you read books. Yeah, but you're always a product of the people that are around you. I believe so.
I think with what you guys are saying is be connected to God so that you can be able to lead, because if you don't connect with God, there's no way that you can be able to lead a home. I think that's just what I've gotten from the three of you. That in order for you to be where you are, in order for you to think like that, you had to be connected to the Creator so that you can get the knowledge and expand it. Yeah, man. I think we've just reached the end of it. I think we've just reached the end of it. Do you guys have like some few words that you would like to say before we close up?
Should I start or you want to start? You want to start? Should I start? Oh.
You want to close
Okay.
it?
No, that's fine. No, it's fine. I think my closing remarks are very as simple as this one. Is that not all men are bad. We have some good men, but because of the absence of those few good men, we are having this confused society. It's more like a recycle of a generation. I don't know how to put it in a better English. My father didn't play a role in my life. I'm not going to play a role in my child's life. My child's not going to play a role in his child's life. So it's a recycling of that bad thing that has happened. So I think it has to start with one who says, I will take a bullet for this family. I'm going to be a better man. I'm going to be a better husband. I'm going to teach the community how to live. I'm going to do good. I think if we just make sure that we are in that line, it's as easy as that. In the olden days, when you do maths, they will say if you're doing your maybe addition, 5 plus 5 is 10. 5 plus 6 is 11. You need to carry one to the next stage. Most of us, we forget to carry that one. And that one is the very critical, because if you don't carry that one, your maths is not going to balance. So let's try to carry a son. Let's try to carry a brother next door, so that there can be a balance in everything that we do. And to the ladies, we love you.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
Carry one.
You need to carry one. Now, what I would say is everybody is important, male and female. It's important. It's up to the generation that's here, which wants to be very much pivotal. Because if we do not change how our forefathers have behaved, we're going to sustain or inherit the outcome that they have witnessed. Now, if that doesn't happen, that we don't change, we are the ones to look at. There's no need to blame the ancient world or who does what, but ourselves. We need to look at ourselves and say we are pivotal. Therefore, let us act according to how we would appreciate how our future is going to be projected. Therefore, every human being is important. Now, the fathers as leaders, they need to stand their ground, or men as leaders, they need to stand their ground. And the ground is make sure that everybody becomes a human being by means of how God sees them.
Yo, no.
Hey.
Yeah, no.
It's cute.
The future looks bright based on what you just said.
Hey, the future is bright, guys.
It's bright. But my closing remark would be, I'm trying to think of words that I can put together with the story that I want to give. Michelle Obama, I'll use Michelle Obama. There was they recorded basically a document of becoming the first lady. So she said in one of the talks that she did with the children that were mentoring, so she said there's so many Michelles and Barack Obamas in the world. It's just that they never had what we had which is a support system. So I believe what we need to do is to be supportive of the next person, the kid next door, some guy that you just meet on a random day in a train, in a bus or a taxi. You know, that conversation that you have might impact someone by simply being kind. It goes a long way. Another one would be for our sisters. Yes, we're sorry, the world is messed up.
And we are to be blamed for
Yeah, we are. We're very much to be blamed for it because we've lost focus. I believe this generation